So are you a coffee drinker? Like I am. I love coffee. But I got a question a couple weeks ago from a reader, and she asked me whether or not coffee was good or bad for us. And I think it's a yes and it's a no answer. Now, I guess I'll get into why that is, but let's talk about the benefits of coffee. Coffee has caffeine in it. So it is, of course, from a nutritional standpoint, going to improve cognitive function, improve energy, improve focus. It actually has some nutrients in it that, of course, are beneficial to us as well. But all of that aside, you know, I think you have to look at the quality of the coffee that you're using, what you're putting into it, how often you're having it, how much of it you're having it, and really why you're having it in the first place. I drink an espresso every morning. I do a version of a bulletproof coffee, which you can Google. There's lots of information about it and talks about the benefits of it. But my number one tip, if you're going to take anything, I've got 5 tips for you. So number one is you have to choose a coffee that is organic. That's enough said. Has to be organic. If it's not, then really the long-term benefits, well, there aren't any, because coffee is the most highly pesticide product on the planet. I mean, there are a lot of other things that are probably at that same level too as well. But so if you think about it, even if there are, nutritional benefits to coffee, consuming pesticides from a long-term perspective is not good. I think we've heard a lot about what pesticides do to us, so I won't drill that in anymore. But it has to be organic, and quite frankly, I think that you can get organic coffees out there that are affordable, and if you don't, of course, ideally you don't want to be drinking too much of it, so it is going to last you a while. So number one tip is choose organic. Number 2 is limit it to 1 cup of coffee a day. That's it. Nothing else. If you are drinking more than a cup, maybe a cup and a half-ish, depending, then you need to take a look at how dependent you are on it. So I know people that drink 3 to 4 cups a day. I know people who drink it all day constantly, no water, no nothing. That's not good. You will be overstimulating your system, and your body is going to become reliant on that caffeine to, produce energy to keep you up and awake and alert and that sort of thing. So I only have a cup a day. On occasion, maybe a little bit more. It really just depends. My number 3 and number 4 tips sort of are in the same bracket: dairy and sugar. So if you are putting dairy in your product, or in your coffee, I urge you to maybe ditch the dairy and go with ideally an organic non-dairy milk, like an almond milk, for at least 2 weeks to see how your body reacts to it, because most people are sensitive to dairy, and oftentimes they just don't realize it until they go off of it. So if you can do that, that would be awesome. But if you can't, then similar to choosing the coffee, you need to choose organic milk. So if you are going to Starbucks and a Tim Hortons and sort of those commercial coffee shops, which I visit too myself, so I'm not saying that I don't, but it's pretty minimally, you have to choose organic dairy. And it's very similar, like I said, to coffee, where, there's antibiotics in the dairy, and, the animals, of course, are not always treated humanely, and that affects the quality of the milk. So you have to think from a long-term perspective. Number 4 is ditch the sugar. As we know, sugar is the new fat, and that is the biggest problem that we're seeing in the health industry and just in the general population now. So you can switch to stevia, or, well, if you need to sweeten it, stevia. Maybe a little bit of honey, maybe a little bit of coconut sugar, if that. But I just ask you to maybe cut it back and wean yourself off of it. And my last tip, I think that's my last tip. Yes. No caffeine after 12. That's my rule. And generally, I really don't even drink coffee, I think, past 10-ish in the morning. But if you are drinking coffee in the afternoon, why are you drinking that coffee? I mean, you know, it's likely for the stimulation. You know, we oftentimes get an afternoon lull. So a lot of us reach for coffee to help us focus and improve our energy. But there are better choices. How about increasing your complex carbohydrates for breakfast and lunch? Maybe you're not having breakfast, and that's what's really affecting your energy. Good, healthy fats really help to improve energy. So if you're having a salad for lunch, having an avocado, or even a sandwich, having an avocado to it, having salmon for lunch, whatever that may be, but maybe you know, focus more on nutritionally where you need to improve before reaching for that cup of coffee. So those are my 5 tips. So choosing organic, limiting to 1 cup of coffee a day, ditching the dairy and the sugar, at least reducing it, and ideally looking at organic, clean products, and no coffee after lunch or after 12. So those are my 5 tips. If you have any other questions for me, send me an email at eatlifebalance.com. You can comment below in the YouTube channel. You can send me a message on Facebook, but I'd love to answer my readers' questions. And yeah, thanks so much, and we will talk to you soon.